that we recognize the Honorable Golez.
The Honorable Roilo Golez is recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, may I know if our distinguished colleague from the cooperative movement would allow a few questions?
Gladly, Madam Speaker.
The first question that I would like to ask Madam Speaker is, what is the failure rate as far as cooperatives are concerned in the Philippines? But I understand that in the past, the failure rate was quite substantial, and only a very small percentage of the existing cooperatives managed to really get accredited by the CDA, something like 17 to 20% in the past.
Madam Speaker, Your Honor, insofar as interest, if you are talking about interest, Your Honor, I think most of the cooperatives in the country, if they have set up various interest rates for different loan windows. Like, for example, for agricultural loan production, the interest rate on a per month basis is 1%, exclusive of services, Your Honor. As when it comes to commercial loans being extended by cooperatives, they go as high as 1.5% per month, Madam Speaker, Your Honor. Those are the interest charges of the cooperatives.
Madam Speaker, what I really meant was the failure rate of cooperatives, not the loans or the facilities being extended by the cooperatives. Because we all know that there are many cooperatives being set up. The question is, how long would they exist, whether they would remain viable, and whether they would remain sustainable over the years.
Madam Speaker, Your Honor, we would like to backtrack a little bit. From Republic Act 6938, there were 73,000 registered cooperatives under this law. Now that it is amended by Republic Act 9520, there are now more than 20,000 re-registered cooperatives only. However, Madam Speaker, Your Honor, the reduction of the quantity of cooperatives is a welcome development. Why? We have seen an expansion in terms of asset, Your Honor. It does not necessarily mean that the 73,000 that reduced to 20,000, it does not mean that the cooperative asset inside the country is shrink as well. No, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, there is an exponential growth of the assets of these 20,000 cooperatives that are now registered under the new law, Your Honor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, distinguished colleague. The reason I ask this is because I also would like to know what is the average size of a Philippine cooperative today by way of assets and by way of, in particular, net worth, and by way of loans extended.
At this point of time, Madam Speaker, Your Honor, those cooperatives under micro, they comprise the bulk of the entire 20,000, more than 20,000 registered cooperatives. So they should fall between 60 to 70% of the entire re-registered cooperatives. Between 3 million to 15 million, that's what we call small scale cooperatives, Your Honor. And they are in the vicinity of between 15 to 20%. And what we call the medium cooperatives from 15 million to is it 15 to 50, 15 to 100 million. These are what we call the medium-sized cooperatives, Your Honor. And they comprise around 15%. And the rest, the bigger ones, from 100 million to billions of cooperatives, there are already little less than 10%, Your Honor, out of the 20,000 cooperatives existing in the entire country today.
Well, the reason I asked, Madam Speaker, is because in Paranaque, you know, a lot of people might think that Paranaque is a highly urbanized city, that the cooperative movement is not that relevant compared to how it is in the outlying provinces. I remember, Madam Speaker, the first time I attended a meeting of the Cooperative Development Authority during the budget consideration, when I was participating in the deliberation. This was during my first term, back in 1992, 1993. One of our colleagues commented, what was a city congressman doing participating in discussing cooperatives? And he thought that the cooperative movement was irrelevant in a city like Paranaque. Of course, I readily commented that that is not so. In fact, I told the chairman, as well as that colleague of ours who still is with us until now. I would not mention his name anymore, but perhaps he would remember this intervention on the part of this representation. When I said that, on the contrary, the cooperative movement is very, very relevant and very, very strong in Paranaque, and I cited the case of the San Dionisio Credit Cooperative, which at that time was already being cited by the World Bank as one of the models of development. That was in 1992, 1993, around 20 years ago. Madam Speaker, distinguished gentlemen, the San Dionisio Credit Cooperative just recently celebrated their 50th anniversary. They started with only 28 members, Madam Speaker. Today, they have more than 13,000 members. They started with only a little over 300 pesos capital. Today, they have a net worth of 600 million pesos and growing. They started with extending loans amounting to 50 pesos only. Today, I understand that they have a total loan facility amounting to about 400 million pesos and growing. May I know if our distinguished colleague is aware of this?
Yeah, very much aware, Madam Speaker, Your Honor. As a matter of fact, this humble representation attended the celebration of the 50th year anniversary of San Dionisio Credit Cooperative of Paranaque. So we do attest, Madam Speaker, Your Honor, to the existence of cooperatives that are relevant in the life also of people in the, even not only in the rural areas but also in urban centers, Madam Speaker.
And in fact, Madam Speaker, the San Dionisio Credit Cooperative is the recipient of a Hall of Fame award by a Metro Manila-based organization that recognizes business excellence. Is the distinguished gentleman aware of this?
Yes, Madam Speaker, Your Honor. This humble representation is fully aware of the awards received by this model cooperative. As a matter of fact, Your Honor, San Dionisio was a model cooperative in the country. And until today, that's why this humble representation mentioned their name today, a while ago, that the officers are not receiving, honoraria from the cooperative itself. Why? They would like to preserve that spirit of volunteerism in the service of the cooperative, Madam Speaker, Your Honor.
And in fact, Madam Speaker, while the rest of the country, the people are struggling to find cheaper medicines. We passed the cheaper medicines law in the last Congress after a hotly contested debate. But in the San Dionisio Cooperative, we already have the Botica de San Dionisio offering cheaper medicines to its members. May I know if our distinguished colleague is aware of this?
Yeah, very much aware, Madam Speaker, Your Honor.
And Madam Speaker, education is quite a challenge in the Philippines. In fact, we have been the object of some demonstrations because of some sectors questioning the amount of budget that we are extending to the education sector. But the San Dionisio Credit Cooperative was able to find its own solution by having its own Escuela de San Dionisio extending very good education to the children of the members of the San Dionisio Credit Cooperative.
We are fully aware, Madam Speaker, Your Honor.
And very recently, we've had this news about some international money transfer problems with respect to a particular money transfer agency. But the San Dionisio Credit Cooperative is even engaged in this business in support not only of its members, but families who may be located abroad by tying up with Western Union as well as the Documents and Parcel Express in support of its members, considering that many of the members may have family members who are working as OFWs, which is quite a crucial aspect in the support of the members.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, Your Honor, we are fully aware of that because through the NATCCO network, our economic arm of the NATCCO party, we have established a partnership with Western Union. That is why all these cooperatives in the entire country affiliated with the Coope-NATCCO network, they can now also avail of these services. So they can now participate into these Western Union services, Madam Speaker, Your Honor. And we're fully aware, Your Honor, about the existence of this service of the different cooperatives in the entire country, not only San Dionisio, but all other cooperatives that are capable financially to undertake this kind of another service.
And of course, Madam Speaker, the San Dionisio Credit Cooperative, considering its success, considering the fact that it was even recognized by the World Bank in a very special article, the San Dionisio Cooperative is a very unselfish cooperative, meaning that it's even very willing to extend technical assistance to other cooperatives, and in fact has helped in the setting up of new cooperatives. I'm sure that our distinguished colleague is very much aware of this.
Madam Speaker, Your Honor, yes, we are fully aware of this because the big cooperatives at this point of time are now encouraged to do or perform the big brother role to smaller cooperatives by way of extending not only technical assistance to these smaller cooperatives, but in some way, somehow, support the operations of these smaller cooperatives. Why? Because we believe in one of the 7 principles of cooperativism, that is cooperation among cooperatives, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Once again, I would like to congratulate our colleague for this very timely speech, for giving tribute to the spirit of cooperativism. One of the hopes for development of our country today, Madam Speaker, is not only the setting up of big industries, which was the development strategy adopted by countries like Japan and Korea, but the other key is the setting up of small enterprises. For example, this is the strategy adopted by countries like Taiwan, to a certain extent by India, which is an emerging superpower as far as the economy is concerned. And one of the key foundations of these countries that developed ahead of us is the spirit of cooperativism. And this can be realized only with a very strong cooperative movement being espoused by our colleagues in the cooperative movement. Madam Speaker, I have been a congressman for almost 6 terms. I became a congressman in 1992. I take great pride in saying that I have observed the dramatic rise of the San Dionisio Credit Cooperative in 40% of its existing lifetime. It's been around for 50 years. I have observed it for almost 20 years. That is roughly about 20 years. And once again, I would like to state that we are indeed a city. We are a highly urbanized city, but within that highly urbanized status is still the very strong spirit of cooperativism that has been one of the sources of progress and development in our city of Paranaque. Maraming po salamat. Thank you very much, our dear colleague. Maraming salamat po, distinguished gentleman, and thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank
Salamat
you
po.
very much, Honorable Golez, Majority Leader.